I just shot a video that'll take a few days to edit and make pretty, and in the meantime I wanted to fire off a quick no-frills review of Alien Romulus. I'll make the first part spoiler-free, and then I'll let you know when to stop if you haven't seen it yet, if you don't want any spoilers. So I have to say, Alien Romulus was good in the way that Jaws 2 was good, which is not an insult. Jaws 2 was fun, but let's face it, they followed up a masterpiece by making a very similar movie where a lot of the same things happen, but now it's happening to people you don't really care that much about. Alien Romulus is similar in that way. We've seen this stuff before, so a lot of the wow factor is gone. But it's certainly not Jaws 3D or Jaws the Revenge or Indiana Jones and the why the hell did they make this movie. I was hoping to leave the theater shouting, "This is the best alien movie since Aliens!" And well, it was, but that's not that high a bar, to be honest. I wasn't a huge fan of Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection or the newer Ridley Scott movies, which I really wanted to love. They all had cool stuff, but just didn't hold together. I'd put Romulus above them. It didn't try to reinvent the wheel. It went back to the franchise's roots and was mostly solid. The best thing I could say about this movie is that it looked amazing. They used practical effects which look great, and I'm glad they stuck to that. Unlike the Thing sequel, who actually did shoot with practical effects, but then the studio forced them to replace it with crappy CGI, which kind of ruined the movie. I love Fede Alvarez's other movies like Don't Breathe and his Evil Dead reboot. He's a great filmmaker, and there was an interview with Ridley Scott where he said that he chose him because he felt he could handle the studio, which sadly says a lot about how movies are made. I don't know how much the studio interfered, but I'm sure Alvarez had a lot of pressure to check certain boxes he might not have wanted to check. Have a cast of 20-somethings. Throw in this piece of fan service. I don't know how it happened, but I will say he did a great job of capturing the look and feel of the original and had some great set pieces and action sequences. So I'll say, if you're a fan of the series, Alien Romulus is worth checking out, even if you didn't love any of the recent Alien Universe movies. Just lower your expectations and just enjoy a fun night at the movies. Okay, I'm going to start getting spoilery, so stop watching if you haven't seen it yet, but check out my take on how the original Alien became a masterpiece by breaking some screenwriting rules. Okay, and spoiler-wary people are gone. Let's dish. All right, there's certain nitpicky things I want to talk about which probably didn't bug most people, but they bumped me a little. Again, I'm nitpicking, but the scene where Rain is about to trade in her credits to get to leave the work colony, and they tell her, actually, we just changed the rules. Now you need to work another year. I think it could have been done better, and I think of Andor and the prison sequence, and how they all thought they'd get to leave after a certain point and then discover a group of prisoners who they were told had been released, but they had really just been moved to another section of the prison. That was a much more organic way to get this info out. And they feel like if the company just kept yanking the rug out from people, they'd have a riot on their hands. So it seemed like a clunky way to get out the information. Plus, you didn't really need it. I mean, you get that their lives suck and they want out, and you get that the company doesn't give a shit about them. The other thing that bumped me off the top was the android telling dad jokes, which they actually called dad jokes, which doesn't seem like that phrase is going to be used in 20,000 years. I thought it was a little cheesy until we discovered that the character is an android. At first, I thought he was a human and was a little on the Forrest Gump side, so I wondered where they were going with this. Then finding out he was an android made it make sense. In fact, I'd say he's the best character in the movie. The actor did a fantastic job with all his twists and turns. And he goes through moral dilemmas, especially after he gets the chip upgrade, which changes his prime directive. The thing I didn't like was telling the "I read a book on gravity, I couldn't put it down" dad joke to give Rain the idea to turn off the gravity. That was a great scene, but she could have just come up with that idea without the "wait a minute, say that again" kind of moment, you know what I mean? Another line that rang as exposition was explaining the character who didn't like androids because, haven't you heard? A synthetic killed his mother. Synths can't kill organics. He killed her and two others to save 12 lives. They can kill humans if it means saving others. That was some exposition level writing up there with, how long have we known each other, Bob? 20 years, Tom. In fact, we're brothers. Oh, that's right. We have the same parents, don't we? I mean, I'm being harsh, but they could have had that character argue with the android and have that same piece of information come out that an android killed his mother to save others. And Andy, the android, could say something like, it sacrificed 3 lives to save 12. Seems like a rational transaction. Which would only piss off the guy even more that the android doesn't understand how he would value his mother's life over random people. Again, I'm nitpicking, but this seems like an easy fix. Now, are these minor points? Yes. But do they matter? Yes. Because trying to make a sequel to a perfect movie is nearly impossible. Empire Strikes Back did it because there was more story to tell. Godfather Part 2 did it because there was more story to tell. The problem with doing a sequel to Alien is that the crew of the Nostromo story is over, except Ripley, who they followed up with several times. So to do a new sequel, you've basically got to start from scratch. And since we've seen facehuggers and chestbursters, and we know the aliens have acid blood, the thing you have to focus on is the characters. I remember when The Walking Dead came out and people were raving about it, I thought, yet another zombie thing. And then I binged the first season and realized it was great because it wasn't about the zombies. It was about the people. And when James Cameron made Titanic, people didn't think it was going to be good because how do you make a movie where everybody knows the end? Well, he showed everybody. It's by making characters that people care about. Alien Romulus was good. It hit all the right beats. I'd say the first section was like a rehash of Alien. Then when they discovered the trove of xenomorphs, it was more like a rehash of Aliens. Then when they bring in the serum and the pregnant lady and the hybrid engineer xenomorph, it was like taking the Prometheus stuff and ratcheting it up. But to make it great, they needed to focus on the characters, and that's what was lacking. Andy the android was a great character, and Rain's relationship with him was interesting, but the rest of the characters were more slasher movie fodder than fleshed out people. I'm glad this movie was made. I had fun watching it in the theater. Seeing them have to make their way through floating acid clouds in zero-G was cool. Seeing a space station crash into a planet's rings was awesome. But the whole movie could have been kicked up a notch if the humans trapped on the ship had more depth and complexity and went through arcs and faced moral dilemmas that forced them to make hard decisions. Like if the guy who didn't like androids because one of them killed his mother to save 12 people was now in a position where he has to choose to save someone he loves or sacrifice them to save several people. I mean, they set that up. It seems like Chekhov's trolley problem. Anyway, those are my initial thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments.